Hello everyone and welcome to Game 2 in a series between oGs Top versus I am Losira. Here on Typhoon Peaks, we have Top spawning on the top right-hand side of the map. Opening up this game now, we'll see how he does with his 1-0 lead in the series. Meanwhile, Losira spawning on the bottom left-hand side as the blue Zerg. So it is going to be Zerg versus Terran here on Typhoon Peaks. I would be absolutely surprised if they did try to change their races at all. And game 1, very, very interesting play. Those Banshees really did a lot more damage than I would have expected. Losira pretty much getting caught completely off guard. After seeing a siege tank, most likely thought that there was not going to be perhaps any Banshees play at all, but the Banshees did in fact come in, and oh, there's that extractor trick now being used, getting into 11/10. But really, catching his opponent off guard with those Banshees, no evolution chamber in play, no tech to tier 2, and that ended up hurting Losira as he was unable to detect those Banshees. Those Banshees getting somewhere in the realm of 25 worker kills total, and that just simply allowed oGs Top to win with his macro. In game 2, we'll see if Losira will respond and react accordingly to oGs Top's tactics in game 1. Or whether or not even Top will even try to do the same opening at all. Pretty interesting already. There is a proxy Rax over here, a double proxy Rax coming in from Top. So this is rather strange. By building the barracks over here, he pretty much knows that it will not be within the normal scouting pattern of any player, of any drone or any overlord, as the overlord's most likely going to go north, south, and then maybe perhaps cut across the map into this location here, as we are now going to perhaps be finally seeing an SCV make its way out. And this is going to be a very interesting game indeed. Another supply depot needs to be added on the front door. You can also see Losira deciding to open up with a hatchery first, followed by a spawning pool. So this double Rax pressure may actually become very, very beneficial, as you can see one Marine already trained. I believe this was just your standard 12 and 14 Rax, if I can calculate my numbers correctly, or 12 and 13.5, as the Marines are now on the move. A drone now making its way up that ramp, as well as the SCVs are now activating some Zonaga watchtowers, and now this one Marine is going to be able to come across this hatchery rather quickly, and that may be a lot of damage to be had. More SCVs joining in on the fight. Marines now funneling in as well, as Zerglings and drones are already making their way out to try to join in on that battle. That SCV has taken a fair bit of damage already. One drone does barely survive, as this is a second bunker now being placed down. A lot of Marines going to be joining in here, and now there will at least be one bunker, if not two, as the SCVs are playing a very, very dangerous game. Zerglings now also joining in the fight. Are they going to be able to jump inside is the key question. So 3 SCVs now moving out as well, perhaps going to engage against those Zerglings. The Zerglings are taking a bit of damage, and now the Zerglings are also taking even more damage. Another bunker could be placed down over here in just a moment, as the SCVs are now gathering for the fight. Double bunkers, and now another SCV joining in, and Losira going to lose this hatchery rather quickly, and that may spell a essential doom. We are getting some more supply depots being built on the front door. The hatchery about to be destroyed. There are a lot of SCVs nearby, and this is going to perhaps completely reset the game. Losira very, very much behind, as he's not going to have that much macro to really deal with. The Broodlings now trying to engage against some of those SCVs. The bunkers providing plenty of cover. Some workers were killed there, and now one worker lost. And I believe the SCVs could perhaps just start repairing each other, as this may be a rather dangerous situation. Marines are now going to go ahead and engage an Overlord, and the Overlord cannot, losing these Overlords rather quickly, that is going to hurt even further, as we may have bunker hopping now coming into play. A command center now coming in from top establishing a stronger economic lead. You can see that, oh, the bunkers are now going to be salvaged instead. So after all that, Losira losing 525 in resources, and now you can see some Zerglings being retrained up. It looks like a hatchery will be built. It looks like there was one Zerg cocoon which was currently blocking it, but now will be rebuilt once again. And now the drone was trying to make his way inside, will not be able to, as there was plenty of supply depots to stop that from happening. And now with 12 Marines trying to fight back against a sea of Zerglings, 16. The bunker may come into play. It may not. This poor SCV trying to establish some natural defense is not going to have the most of luck at all. The Zergling does have that metabolic boost, and now down goes that poor SCV. Zergling is exchanged in that battle there, as this bunker will most likely just simply get canceled. We are now getting some additional supply depots here on the front door, making it very difficult for this front door wall to be busted. One of the problems with having a supply depot wall is that if banelings do come across this front door, I believe a baneling detonating here actually hits all 3 buildings. So if you have 8 banelings, which does cost 400 minerals and 200 gas, you can actually take down 3 supply depots. It may not sound like a good trade at all, but when you take into the fact that your opponent will then be supply blocked for quite some time, unable to train SCVs, that is going to hurt him in the end. We are now going into double factory as well, as we do have a lot of barracks in play. The bunkers are a little bit further behind, making it even more difficult for those banelings to get splash damage behind. I believe if a baneling does detonate here, it can hit this barracks, and this one particular depot. We now see a triple expansion or triple base play coming in from Losira. Losira needs to do something drastic. Losira does have 32 drones though compared to 25. The standing armies are about even as well. So even though Losira did lose significantly more, he is responding rather well, and may perhaps be able to get this orbital command down. The orbital command now once again being lifted off. The Marines are now going to be funneling in, but the Marines are not going to be able to want to do very much at all, as you can see that the Marines just playing a very, very simple game, as now once again the Zerglings are just preventing this one orbital command from landing. There it goes, once again landing there, and the army 275 versus 850, as the Zerglings are now just going to get easily taken care of and now pulled away. The hatchery is up for Losira. Perhaps we will see another queen trained up, as all of the Zerglings are now out of the field. All you see in the field are 42 drones and 2 queens. Roaches are now being built as well, and those roaches are going to be able to deal a lot of damage to those Marines and even those Hellions. Those Hellions are going to be easily countered, and Losira may still have a very strong fighting chance in this game. Even though he did lose that early hatchery to that early pressure, the Hellions are now trying to engage and are quickly going to try to fight and get deterred back from these roaches. We are not at tier 2. No tier 2 tech just quite yet, so we are not going to have the Glio reconstitution. Those roaches are not going to be able to chase after those Hellions that well at all. But we may also see another key building built here, or even a building built here that would really prevent those Hellions from dealing any serious damage at all, as there are a decent number of roaches now in play. 8 roaches, enough to almost one-shot 2 Hellions at a time if they do split up their target. And now in come the Hellions. The Hellions going to come back around. One roach, does get taken down rather quickly, and now Zerglings now trying to swarm in as well. The Zerglings going to focus down many of those Marines as those roaches are continuing to push. More Hellions coming in to join in on this battle. This queen going a little bit too far, but really able to protect that hatchery. And now the roaches are in a counter push here. The Hellions do have superior range, but those roaches are not going to be able to really get any damage here, as we may have a drive-by of these Zerglings. The Zerglings now coming around that far side, and this is going to be a problem. These Hellions look to deal a lot of damage. A queen and Zergling now going to perhaps try to get in the way, and it looks like those drones are now going to get torched rather quickly. The drones now trying to engage here. It looks like Zerglings are getting destroyed, and not any of the drones. I'm not sure how Losira did it, but I don't think he actually lost any drones in that exchange. 57 drones by Losira. Brilliantly done. As I was sure a top would have been able to reset the economic game just a little bit, but no. Wow, brilliantly done by Losira. Losira really coming out ahead, and taking a look at the losses now, 2175 versus 1900, and this is all pivotal on the fact that Losira is now mining more than his opponent. We are getting a third base now established by top. He will try to be established this expansion here, but I believe that Losira, as long as he's able to keep up his drone count, which he is, 71 compared to 44, and now also teching into tier 2, getting that all-important macro hatch as well, he should be able to perhaps expand into this location or even into this location. Both locations rather easy for him to defend. More this location than anything else, though. Roaches are now pushing out. The Glio reconstitution should be researched in just a moment, as we are going into very, very heavy Roach play. Siege tanks do have a superior number. 142 food versus 106, 73 drones versus 48, as more roaches are still being added in number. Top looking to knock on this back door here and get a lot of damage dealt. I think it will just be a matter of time, as the Marines most likely know that there is an expansion here, and they are just going to set themselves in position and now knock on this back door. The Marines are now going to shut down this over here. The drone is now going to simply get revealed. The roaches and perhaps are going to be able to push in here in just a moment as those siege tanks unsiege, and maybe at just the wrong time, as he's going to wait for those rocks to get destroyed. And as soon as those rocks are down and those siege tanks unsiege, the Banelings and Zerglings may be swarming in. There you go. The roaches are now pushing in, not waiting for the siege tanks to unsiege, though, as the roaches are now going after one siege tank down, 3 siege tanks now down. Banelings do not have stim, and it may melt away much of that army there. The last siege tank has been destroyed, and now it is a roach versus Marine army, and the roaches with that base 1 armor, and also we're fighting barely on creep, would definitely help them in the long run. This set of destructible rocks still in play at 147 hit points, as the Zerglings now swarming in and finishing off a lot more Marines. More Marines were taken down here. We are getting Burrow, so Losira will be able to hit the reset button on these roaches, regenerating them very, very quickly, and perhaps getting some Baneling landmines as well. That will be absolutely huge. Roaches are not burrowing for some reason, even though the burrow option is available to them. You can see a lot of damage could be healed up. There you go. Losira finally healing that up. The Banelings, oh, there is the burrow, revealing the fact, and now Top perhaps waiting for a scanner sweep. He doesn't want to move out, knowing that perhaps a lot of Marines could be destroyed in a very, very easy fashion. 39 Banelings, 41 Banelings in production. That is huge. And yeah, 43 Banelings. So much destruction to be had, but now we can see Top coming in with a drop. The Overlords will get shot down. Zerglings now coming over to try to handle that there. And there was that Baneling clean up there. The roaches are now once again moving out, and this will be a rather slow push from Top. The medevac is about to make its way over here. There is one Spire now coming into play. Marines about to drop in, as well as the roaches are now trying to engage. The roaches do have the Glio reconstitution. The Marines gonna melt away, as the Banelings and the roaches are gonna be able to chase down these siege tanks rather easily. And these Banelings are just getting all but destroyed. There are a couple siege tanks here, but they are gonna get destroyed as well, as this push just continues. The army of Top getting completely rolled over, as Losira was just able to recover very nicely from that that early hatchery loss, and that just goes to show you what a good Zerg player can do, keeping up on top of his macro. The Roach is now going after SCVs, going after siege tanks. Zerglings now swarming in once again. This medevac doesn't have anything at all. No reinforcements coming, and I believe the GG will be coming in soon. No, there is another base over here by Top, so Top, never mind, there is the GG. And now Losira evening up the series at 1 game apiece. Game 1 was a very, very easy victory appeared for Top, but Losira taking game 2 and evening up the series and making it look easy, even though he lost that early hatchery. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for game 2.